Hey guys! In this video, we're going to be talking about sexual desire, specifically female sexual desire, and we're going to bust some myths around this controversial and taboo topic. There is so much misleading information and imagery out there about this that as a result, a lot of women who experience low libido end up thinking that there's something wrong with them. But nothing could be further from the truth. Low sex drive is actually very common among women, but as we'll see, we're conditioned to believe the exact opposite. The good news is that low libido is treatable without any costly interventions in most cases. In fact, generally speaking, all that's involved is getting synced up with your cycle, your menstrual cycle, the wisdom of which is so much more valuable than anything any doctor could tell you. So let's get into those myths, okay? So myth number one is that women are horny all the time, just like men. Now, while it's possible that a woman with very healthy hormones could have a very strong, healthy sex drive, the level of horniness or desire for sex that you feel as a woman at any given time often has to do with where you are in your cycle. It kind of ebbs and flows with where you are in your cycle. If you're in your menstrual phase, for example, you're generally not feeling very horny because your levels of testosterone are in their lowest concentrations. In fact, your levels of hormones, all your hormones are in the lowest concentration compared to any other point in your cycle. Whereas in your ovulatory phase, which is around the time that the egg is released from the follicle, you're magnetic, you're vibrant, and it's much easier for you to achieve climax. You're much more prepared for sex, and testosterone is surging. Think about it like this. Men are fertile every day, so it stands to reason that they would be hornier and they would be ready to go at a moment's notice. Whereas with women who aren't fertile every day, which again is something you don't learn in sex ed, it takes them a little longer to kind of get tuned up and turned on. Okay, so myth number two. If you don't have a Whap, a wet ass pussy, then there's something wrong with you. If you're not ready to go, if you're not wet the moment your partner touches you, then there's something wrong with you. This is a very pervasive and damaging myth. So I blame Cardi B for perpetuating this myth. I joke, but in all honesty, a lot of what we hear, see in media, in pop culture, sort of, elevates this idea of a Whap to this like thing that you must possess as a woman to be a woman. And it's damaging because what it does is it silences women who have a naturally drier vagina, who are naturally less inclined towards sex. They have a lower libido. It discourages them from coming forward and actually getting help. And they think that there's something wrong with them, which again, could not be further from the truth. And like I said earlier, there are times in your cycle when you're more wet. Literally, you achieve arousal and you get in the mood faster than you do in the other dry phases of your cycle. If you're not aware of cycle syncing, if you're not aware of where you are in your cycle, you could, erroneously think that there's something wrong with you because you're not this quick to be turned on or aroused. And that's not true. It just takes a little bit of investigating and getting more in sync with your menstrual cycle and knowing where you are in each phase and what's happening with you physiologically. So no one really talks about this. And again, this idea that, women, should be ready to go at a moment's notice and, should be wet and, aroused at the moment that their partner looks at them, it's just unrealistic. And it's perpetuating this myth that I think is really damaging to some women who have these real concerns about low libido. All right, myth number three, men need sex more than women. I'm rolling my eyes, right? Just because it takes longer to get women there doesn't mean that women need sex any less. The feel-good hormones that are released when you cuddle, when you have sex, when you're intimate, when you hug, when you kiss, these hormones help alleviate anxiety and boost happy feelings. Orgasms, right? We're going there. Orgasms release oxytocin that help you feel more sociable and actually make it easier for you to bond with both your partner and other people in your life, the other relationships in your life. The problem is many women with low libido aren't getting the hormone healthy benefits of regular sex and orgasms because they don't crave it. They don't have that natural inclination towards it. And orgasms help hormonal health, but you need to have a healthy, balanced hormones in order to desire orgasm. So it's kind of like you're between a rock and a hard place as a woman with a low sex drive. But fear not. What do you do? What can you do to improve your sexual desire? So I have some recommendations for you, and I'm going to share them right now. The first thing you can do is you can learn how to sync up with your cycle. So as I alluded to earlier, there are 4 distinct phases of the menstrual cycle: the follicular phase, the ovulatory phase, the luteal phase, and the menstrual phase. So unlike men who operate on a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour cycle, women are different. Women in their menstruating years are very different. Our physiologies are unique. And for that reason, it doesn't serve us to do everything the same way every single day. Eat, exercise, self-care, all of these things can be designed and fit into each unique phase. So there are different ways to take care of ourselves in each distinct phase. So when you understand this about yourself, you have a better idea of how to kickstart your arousal in each phase. So as I mentioned earlier, there are wet and dry phases of each stage. So in your ovulatory phase, when testosterone is high and surging, you're going to feel more sexually aroused. You're going to produce more arousal fluid. You're going to be ready to go sooner with less foreplay. Whereas in the luteal phase or the menstrual phase, you might need a little bit more in the way of wooing. And that knowledge, again, comes with syncing up with your cycle. So another way that you can improve sexual desire is being wary of the effects of hormonal birth control. So studies have shown that hormonal birth control can lower testosterone levels up to 60%. And testosterone, as we've learned, directly interferes with sexual desire. So I'm not about to give you any advice about what to do with your body, but keep in mind that there have been studies that have linked the use of hormonal birth control to lower libido, low sex drive, really, just lower levels of desire for sex in general. Another thing that you can do to help improve sexual desire is make sure you're eating properly. Make sure that you are getting enough healthy fat in particular. Healthy fat is extremely important, and unfortunately this is something that has sort of been vilified in our society. But things like full-fat dairy, avocado, nuts and seeds, these are things that are actually going to help boost your libido. So healthy fats, libido boosting foods. Make sure you're incorporating enough of those into your diet. Supplementation. If your diet's on point and you're still kind of experiencing maybe some symptoms of low libido, try supplementing. Things like ginseng, ginkgo, maca. Those have all shown to increase libido in women that have supplemented with them, along with, a healthy lifestyle. Another thing you can do is exercise, but exercise in the right way. So when you learn about how to sync up with your cycle, you're going to learn that exercising the same way every day is not conducive to supporting your hormonal health. So in some phases, for example, your follicular ovulatory phase, you're going to have higher concentrations of hormones, higher concentrations of testosterone in particular. So that is going to enable you to withstand high intensity interval training, like faster strength training, going all out in your workouts. Whereas in your luteal menstrual phase, your hormones are at lower concentrations and your energy level is less. So more restorative, slow moving, relaxing exercise like walking, different forms of yoga, bar, things like that are going to be better suited to where you are in your cycle and better suited to support your hormones where you are in your cycle. And of course, exercise is a great way to just get the blood pumping throughout the body. And the more blood you have pumping throughout the body, the more kind of energized you'll feel. And often that helps to ignite and ramp up sexual desire. And then finally, prioritizing sleep. So we kind of live in a hustle society, or rather a society that sort of glorifies the hustle. And unfortunately, not getting enough sleep, lack of quality sleep can really wreak havoc on your hormones. It can really increase the amount of cortisol in your body, which is going to have a negative effect on your hormonal health and subsequently your sex drive. So those are some ways that you can improve your sex drive, your libido, if you're experiencing that. And again, keep in mind, these myths that we discussed, these things are simply not true, and it's time that we kind of spoke up and about the harmful effects that these myths can have. So the more educated you are about your body, your unique biochemistry as a woman, and the more you're kind of synced in with your menstrual cycle, the more you'll be able to kind of pinpoint these areas where, a hormonal imbalance may be occurring and causing a symptom like low libido. So if you liked this video, I encourage you to subscribe and definitely click the bell to make sure that you are that you're notified whenever there's a new video. And as always, definitely come check out the podcast. You can find Point Blank Period Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. I go into much more detail about this stuff on the episodes. And, keep coming back for more video content, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.